Hello all, today we're doing some more honing, and what I'm honing is a beautiful little ERN razor, 5/8, round point obviously, full hollow. On the back it has the Wald Germany. Let's see if I can pull that up for you. There you go, Wald. Try to get you in the light. There we go. And wonderful little razor. Lies flat. It's already very sharp. And I'll show you what the edge looks like. So here's a microscope image of the edge. And for what it's worth, that is a synthetic edge that has been maintained, at least in my experience, that's what an edge that's been maintained with a loaded strop looks like. You can see that the scratch pattern changes slightly to a much more polished one as you get right near the apex, and that typically comes from using very fine grit paste on a loaded strop. The strategy for today, and I'm really looking forward to test shaving this razor. The strategy for today is to put an Arkansas edge on this razor. I'm going to do the sort of classical progression. I'm going to start on a Coticule. This is a La Veinette. So I'm going to start with a Coticule and then move to an Arkansas. I probably will use my newest Arkansas, a Butterscotch arc, just for the fun of it and because it looks cool. So let's get going. Yeah, let's get going. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, but since I don't do any preparation for these things, I just start in. I will say that I am probably not the person to learn how to use a Coticule from. Go to Eric, the Cajun Blade, or somebody who is more established in teaching how to use a Coticule. Because I've got pretty good feel for using slurries, and I tend to do all this by feel. I don't use a counting method, so many laps and then a drop and so many laps and then a drop. Because I cheat. So how do I cheat? Well, I check sharpness. So if I'm progressing quickly enough, then I start to thin the slurry. And if I'm not progressing quickly enough, then I'll thicken the slurry. That's not how you're typically taught. This particular Coticule has wonderful, absolutely wonderful feedback. This one, I have two La Veinettes. And both of them have this wonderful feedback. This one was purchased from a good friend of Eric's, Eric the Cajun Blades. Eric the Cajun Blade. And the other one, equally as good, was purchased from Easy Hone on eBay. My friend Beebit. This one was at the top of the pile, so I picked this one today. I used both of them equally. And why do I need two? Well, I don't. Am I going to sell one? No. Don't ask me why. I have no logical explanation for this kind of thing. Now you can see that the slurry has grayed up. I'm going to, the goal here, this is already a sharp razor, so the goal here is really to knock back that apex with this thicker slurry, knock that apex back, and give the entire edge the imprint of this Coticule. And this will probably be a, I'm going to check sharpness here in a second, but this is not a slow Coticule. I'll be finishing on oil with both the Coticule and the Arkansas. All right, let's take a midpoint test here. Okay, so that is silently just slipping into the packing peanut easily. Yep. Okay, so that's good. So I'm just going to continue with this. I'm going to thin again, and I'm going to continue. I'm not going to make you watch all this, so I will. I'll bring you back in when I've made some progress. All right, I just started recording again. It's been not that long, but I've been thinning down the slurry. We're at a very misty slurry stage here. I have great feel on the stone, and wonderful behavior from the slurry. So let's do a quick check here. Sharpness check, and then I'll go and take a look on the microscope to show you what the edge looks like before using oil. We'll try to do a before and after oil shot, just to let you know how the edge changes when you put oil on the Coticule. So here we go. Actually, the edge has gone back a little bit, so that's okay, but I think I'm going to, that's pretty darn good. I think I'll do just a little bit more. I'm going to just put some water down here and do just a couple of more here. Very, very light, just to even out this bevel just slightly. And let's do another test. I have almost no water there. Let's do another test and see where we are. If it's gone backwards, then I'm going to do some more, but I kind of feel like it has not gone backwards. So let's check. Oh no. Yeah, that's an entirely different feel. So I think there was a burr there. All right, let's go take a look at this edge. All right, I'm back from the microscope, and I just showed you what the edge looks like. Many of you are thinking, God, that looks awful. And couple things, that's at 800 to 1 magnification. And yeah, Coticule edges are not always the prettiest, but let's see what we can do to refine it. Really, all you need, the only thing that you need to use for refinement, there's only one thing. Hold on here, what's going on? Gotta make sure I've got this nice and clean. This is a microfiber towel, so it doesn't shed. So there we go. So the only thing you need for oil is the Cajun Blades honing oil. This is the best I've found for a couple of reasons. It's got the appropriate it has appropriate light, it's an appropriately light oil, and the fragrance of the oil contributes tremendously to the honing result. Why is that? Well, because I like the fragrance. So I'm more likely to spend time with it than not. Okay, we are oiled up. This is wonderful stuff. I have used it before. And I'll be using it again. When the fragrance hits you, it's just a wonderful experience. And I am not kidding that it does make you kind of want to stay with it. Now, I'm going to do my best to not make you watch this, so I'll get started here, and then I'll be doing this a while. I'll cut away and then come back, and but this is all I'm doing. What you see me doing is all I'm doing. And so I already have, you can see the undercut, the way in which the oil is flowing over the edge is pretty doggone fantastic. And so I'm just going to use the razor with the oil to do two things: to smooth out the surface of this stone, which is already fairly smooth, and to just refine the edge a little bit. So I'm going to keep at this for a little while, and then I'll come back when I feel a change, or if I feel a change in the edge. All right, I just finished on the oil. I was there for a little while, not too long. I don't know what the total honing time is, but it hasn't been much more than about 15 minutes maybe. So you haven't missed much. Let's see here. So I just felt like I was done. I cleaned this with soap and water, so now we're going to go take a look at it under the microscope. Okay, so I just showed you the microscope image of the edge of this razor as it came off the Coticule after oil. Hopefully you can see that it's that the overall condition of the edge is actually a lot better. Again, you have to be a little accustomed to looking at Coticule edges. Let's test. Okay, it is pushing into the cloud. This is absolutely going into the packing peanut with no effort, silently and with no effort, just floating into the peanut. That's what I call pushing into the cloud. because there's no sense that the peanut is there. And we're going to finish conditioning this edge. This is an Arkansas. This is a translucent Arkansas called a Butterscotch. What makes it Butterscotch is that it's an old stone that was used probably in a machine shop, and lots of oil. Always used with oil, and what happens is that the oil seeps into the stone and turns a translucent butterscotch. So that takes a long time. So this is probably a 70, 80-year-old stone. Does that make it better? Not in my opinion. There are people who sell these stones who will tell you that the old stones, the vintage stones, are better. I don't personally believe that, and the reason I don't is that it takes millennia to metamorphosize that's the term geologists use for creating the crystal matrix out of novaculite, and that's done with temperature and pressure, and it takes a very long time. And so when they cut these things out of the veins of the earth, the mining companies are probably, I don't know for sure, but my suspicion is that they would go for the easiest materials to get to first, so that they can recoup their mining cost early, and that then after they've started to mine material and sell it, then they can start to recoup their costs, and I would still go for the easiest first. And then after you've mined out the easiest areas, then hopefully you have a thriving business, and then you can start to mine the more difficult areas. That's how I would do it, and it seems to me that's the most practical way. And so the notion of going into the side of some mountain that's difficult to get to, and then cherry picking the best material first, I don't necessarily buy that, but I don't know. I'm a desk jockey. I don't know anything about mining other than what I see on Gold Rush. So let's get going here. And let's see what this Arkansas, if you're a European or a South African. Let's just see what this does to this edge. I'm putting some pressure back into the apex, or back into the bevel, I should say, to let the stone work there, and then it'll work up to the edge. I showed you that was the center of the. What I showed you was the center of the razor on the show side, so right here. Just if you were interested. Okay, there's just a thin layer of the honing oil, Eric's honing oil. I can feel, what does this do on a Arkansas? Kind of the same thing it does on the Coticule. You can feel the. It helps to feel the texture of the surface. It helps you to feel the surface somehow. Obviously, it's a viscous material, so it's offering some lubrication as you move across the stone. Because this is in Arkansas and they're notoriously slow, I'm gonna cut away and do quite a few laps, and then I will come back. All right, I've been at this a little while, and I admit that I get kind of carried away, and some of that has to do with the scent of the oil, as I mentioned before. So let's clean this up. Let's clean this razor up. Go to the microscope and see what the edge looks like. All right, so I have just loaded up the razor onto my microscope, and I thought we could take a look at this translucent arc edge or butterscotch arc edge together. So let's bring the razor in under the microscope. There we go. Do a little focusing. This is the center of the edge on the show side. So as you can see, this is cleaned up, both the scratch pattern and the edge. Also very difficult to focus. There you go. So that's here's what the center section looks like. As you can see, it's pretty uniform. Arkansas and Coticule and Arkansas edges, well, especially Arkansas edges that follow a Coticule, they definitely retain the imprint of the Coticule. So the apex looks not great, but this is actually pretty good for this combination. It's very difficult to get it as clean as what you see here. Typically this would be a pretty good edge, like right here. That would be considered to be a pretty good edge. That's pretty much where I started. Okay, let's go take a look at the toe section here. There we go. There's the toe as usual. We haven't looked at the heel yet, but generally the toe and the heel on my honing look better than the center. So here's what the toe looks like. Put that in better focus for you. There we go. And let's go take a look at the heel. Let's try to get the auto exposure right. There we go. So here's the heel. Pretty good. About what we would expect. Well, about what I would expect. If you're not accustomed to looking at this resolution, then this is going to look pretty awful. At 100x, 100 to 1, this is going to look pretty darn good. Okay, I think we'll go back to the stones and do some sharpness testing and hopefully wrap this one up. I'm back at the stones here, and it's time to do a final sharpness test. All right, so that is continuing to float into the packing peanut easily, and we haven't even stropped this yet. So the next thing to do is to strop this. Because the Coticule is involved, I'm going to do 40 laps on linen and 80 laps on leather. And then we're going to go test shave this, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I guess the next time you'll see me will be at the test shave. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye. All right, so I just completed 40 laps on fire hose linen and then another 80 laps on steer hide leather. The fire hose is a hanging strop, but the steer hide leather is a bench strop, which allows me to apply pressure as evenly as possible. The hanging strops are less precise. So I thought you might like to see what a stropped edge looks like, especially a Coticule edge. that's been stropped. So let's bring this in so we can both find out. And that's pretty much what I expect. What the stropping does with, especially with a Coticule edge, which is toothy, is that the torque applied in stropping has much more effect on the teeth than the broad areas. That's just physics. And as you can see, this really evens out the edge tremendously compared to an unstropped Coticule slash arc edge. Let's go to the toe here. There you go. There's the toe. And let's head down to the heel. And we need to go a little further. There we go. That's the heel. All right. And you can see the whole edge just gets, the outline of the edge just gets a little bit better. We still have the imprint of both the Coticule and the Arkansas, but a lot of the toothiness is rounded, so the toothiness has less of a chance to be harsh, but you still get the nice feel of the texture of both stones. All right, now it's time to do the shape test.